Memphis, 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 Memphis. Nothing but Memphis. Everywhere we go, it's Memphis. Memphis, Tennessee, the beautiful land in the world.
And I'm thankful for this guy who tweeted and said I don't have that fire in my eye no more. That game right there was for him. That's what I do. I prove people wrong each and every night, and that's for him right there.
Hi, this is Tom Izzo at Michigan State, and you're listening to Grizz 901.
Yo, what up, Grizz Nation, and welcome back to another episode of Grizz 901 live post-game show. We're here. Me and Nate are both away from our actual studio where we normally record, but the Grizzlies took care of business. Listen, they proved me wrong. I didn't expect this team to come out, and I bet none of you all expect this team to really come out and look the way they did, but they did. They win 120-103 over the Dallas Mavericks, and it looks like Bane, he still got that hate in his eyes. I love it, man. So tonight we're going to get into the game recap as we always do. In the second segment, we have a Grizz trivia question. I have a local Memphis Tigers trivia question because, listen, the Tigers have been playing well. They have some big wins, so I had to bring a Memphis Tigers question, Grizzlies style, into the trivia segment of the Grizz trivia. And then we're going to talk a little bit more about the John Morant news. As you all know, everybody's devastated, but the Grizzlies keep winning. But we still want to talk about what that looks like, but how does that affect the future in this team? And last thing is we're going to look at the Clippers as we we'll play them on Friday the 12th. But listen, that's all we got. Let's go ahead and bring in our guy.
What's happening?
What's up, man? What up?
What's happening? I'm confused.
We'll see. Like the Grizzlies, tried, and the Mavericks looks like they got punched in the mouth, and there were some issues.
Ooh, Josh Green getting some cardio in out there. Saw Morris twin get some cardio. So here's the deal: if you're sitting there and you're saying, Nate, it looks like you're doing this from a hotel bed. It's because I am. And I'm at a work function at which I said, hey, team, love this, but got a whole community of Grizz fans I got to go support. So came up here to the hotel room, decided, hey, we're going to go and we're going to do this. We did the work events. Now we're going to come do this.
Yeah. The
only thing I saw was a fourth quarter where the Grizzlies turned it over 10 times. So I don't know what's happening. You're going to have to tell me.
All right, so I'm going to let the chat help out a little bit as LOL Nope Jones says, whoa, and then he says, whoa. I'm going to listen. 3-0 road trip. Nobody expected that. As I can't even read that. My setup is not the same. I'm looking at a much smaller camera. I'm thinking that says James Jr. It's so far away.
Yes.
But, we're talking about a 3-0 road trip, man. You couldn't ask for anything better than that. Let's go ahead and break it down quarter by quarter, okay? And it's just going to be very simple. The Grizzlies, they came out hot. And the reason is they came out with energy and effort. And they went up 29-22. And honestly, they got down by 7. I believe it was 7 or so very early into the first quarter. And then to hold the Mavericks to 22 points in the first quarter is huge because I think they averaged 30, if I'm not mistaken, in the first quarter alone. Desmond Bane, I think he had 10 first quarter points. It was very, very quick, man. He was getting to the rim. That whatever that is, little hook, little baby hook off the glass, that's a very hard shot. And then we get to the second quarter and 39 points in the second quarter. They shot well. They played well. They looked like they had more energy by far. And at that point, it was just kind of maintain the lead. And unfortunately, we see Marcus Smart go down in the second half. If everybody saw that, it's a dislocated finger. It's to the shooting hand, which is unfortunate to all that because within shooting, you have to feel the ball. Because you have to feel the ball if you have a swollen finger or a finger that has a lack of sensation in it. Google doctor says it takes up to 6 weeks to heal. Listen, I've had both pinkies. They don't actually go the right way anymore. Both pinkies have done that. I'm not a shooter per se, but I'm afraid that we're going to be without Marcus Smart for a little bit. And so as looks like who as John 17 says, I don't think Marcus Smart's back next game. I would be shocked if he's back next game, especially because it's on the shooting hand. He's going to eventually have to tape him up. But all in all, the Grizzlies play well. They out-rebounded them, and they punched them in the mouth. And if you missed the David Roddy dunk, you got to go watch that one.
I did see the David Roddy dunk.
All right.
Roddy gang back up for at least one game. Roddy gang back up. Did Marcus Smart dislocated his finger celebrating a three-pointer?
It wasn't even celebrating. Like, he put his hand up, like to do the, what is it? Do that or something like that. And that finger, this finger, the ring finger, didn't come back up. Like, it, usually it's like something like that or whatever. But like this one, it just stayed down. So it was this. And I was like, he goes,
what in the
finger?
Grizzlies?
I don't know, man.
Is that not just how the season has gone? It's like Steven Adams is out. BC has a setback. Ja's now out. And then Marcus Smart dislocates his finger holding up a three. Dude. Yo, I see Vince, his stats tonight were 6, 6, and 6. The Devil's on this team, man. The Devil's I don't know what's going on. How does that happen?
Yeah. Well, as LOL, nope. Jones wants to know from you, Nate. Roddy fan club back?
Roddy gang all the way back for at least 24 hours. Who knows? He'll probably break his foot getting an eye. Yeah. That's the way this thing works.
Yeah, something bad will happen. But as D'Angelo says, we're effing cursed, man, with injuries. It's bad. But listen, all in all, the Grizzlies played well. We're going to break down the game as much as we possibly can. Just by me seeing most of it, and you just kind of, I wanted you to make sure you were here because we're going to talk a lot through the jaw stuff and the future of what the Grizzlies look like. And I know this is a great feeling. I don't want to bring us down from there. I do want to talk about what the future might look like because I do think that's important. But let's go through the stats real quick. And this is the telling thing for me is, the Grizzlies shot 37 3-pointers, right? They shot 37.8%. That's fine, especially as a team. It's fine. The rebounding, 54 to 33, 18 to 8 on the offensive boards. That just shows you that this team, no matter how they're constructed, no matter who is playing, if they play with the energy, the effort, the desire to be better and just to go out there, this is a bunch of guys that really honestly can continue to keep winning at times. I don't know how long. I don't know when they can get caught. But if they have some semi-good shooting and if they play with that effort, man, they're going to surprise a lot of teams.
Yeah, I mean, 54 to – what was that number again?
54 to 33.
33.
21, yep.
No Trip, no Santi. Like, that's huge. I mean, as much as people hate on Jaren's rebounding, he's been fine rebounding this year. And so, I mean, Biz played 18 minutes, X played 28, and so your biggest guy is pretty much 6'8" out there. It's like, I don't know. Like, I really thought tonight was going to be a matter of what Jaren shows up. If you get good Jaren, you can win the game. If not, you're going to get beat. And then Jaren doesn't play at all. I look, and I'm like, they're up 20 while I'm sitting there at dinner tonight. I just check my phone, and then I see Jaren's not even playing. And I'm like, and at that point, the Grizz were shooting like 26% from three. So I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah, no doubt. So I did mess up. I apologize to anybody. I didn't stream this to our main Twitter. I don't know how I messed that up, but I didn't. So unfortunately, I just did it. And so it looks like we have more people joining us finally. I was like, what is this number? It's a weird number. Anyway, so I apologize if you're just joining us over from Twitter and you're just finding us. Listen, I did something wrong. I pushed the wrong button. Who knows? Yeah, listen, I do a lot of things wrong. But thank you for hanging out with us. We're going to go ahead and we're going to keep recapping the game. But as I do want to answer this question from King Mix, I do think that Jaren's back next game. You're talking about a 3 days off, and you don't play until Friday. Listen, I expect, every bit of us actually getting a full roster outside of Marcus Smart. I don't think Marcus Smart will be back next game. And so with that being said, I think we'll have Jaren, but you're going to lose Marcus Smart, but gain Jaren in that instance. And so that's what's, it sucks, but I do believe that Marcus will be back at some point, but man, right away, it's going to be tough for him to come back from that injury for sure.
I'm watching another video of it right now. It's like only the Memphis Grizzlies in this year could have such a thing happen.
Yeah. And the points in the paint, the Grizzlies 56-46, which is big. What's your thoughts about Luka? I know you didn't see him much about it, but how do you think it went tonight with Luka in his free throw shooting? How many free throws do you think he took?
I mean, because it's Luka, I'd assume he shot somewhere around 14, but I didn't want to know.
He shot 15. How are you good at this? How are you good?
Because I # no ball, dog. I don't know. I'm a good guesser, but it's Luka. I mean, he constantly is complaining.
So Kyrie and Luka took 25 free throws, which at some point in the game, man, it was just like miserable. Like they were just taking free throw after free throw after free throw, and Luka couldn't get in rhythm. Shout out to honestly, it was a lot of Vince Williams. It was some of Conchar, but some of it as well. A big part of it was Xavier Tillman. Xavier Tillman played amazingly well, especially defensively. Offensively, yes, but amazingly on the defensive end with big blocks and a lot of trash talking to Kyrie Irving in the bench.
Oh, really?
A lot of trash talking tonight from the Grizzlies. It was great.
Well, I imagine Desmond Bane playing in Dallas. That's typically how that goes. So that part's not surprising. But hearing it from like X or somebody, that's pretty surprising. If it was X or somebody. I just just keep looking at the box score and I'm just confused. I'm just
hey, listen, real quick on this. I just looked at this, and Dak Daniels is talking about Vince Williams, obviously giving him a 4 for 40. So, obviously, 4 years for $40 million, which would be $10 million a year. Obviously, I don't think he'll get that, right? But I do think he'll get a 4-year deal, probably $4 to $5 million per year, I'd imagine. But something to look at is, and this is what I saw today, and I didn't realize this, the trade deadline is on February the 8th. February the 8th. The last game that Vince can play as if he plays every game all the way up into his 50, the last game he can play is what date, Nate? February the 8th.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have to miss another game due to that 50-game restriction. But every single game he plays takes one away from the potential of getting more GG games if for some reason the Grizzlies were to be bad at some point throughout the year.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, we'll see. But I love watching Luka's game. I hate so much how much he complains and how miserable he makes it to watch himself.
Yeah.
I'm looking through these stats. They had 16 turnovers. Did they have 6 heading into the fourth?
I didn't look at the quarter-by-quarter numbers, honestly. I'm trying to eat my
David,
beignets.
David Roddy dribbled it off his leg like 4 times in a row as soon as I turned the game on.
Oh, you watched the worst part of the game. So what was happening? I know you didn't know this, but what they were doing is trying to get Bane as many minutes as possible. So they were running Bane the entire first quarter and the entire third quarter. Well, what happened is they were going to let Bane sit out for the first, let's say, 5 minutes of the second and the fourth, and come back for the final stretch of each to close each half or the game. The issue with that is Marcus Smart goes down into the third quarter. Yeah. So you end the third quarter, you sit Bane, and then it's literally 4 to 5 turnovers in a row. And so he literally sat down for a minute and a half the second half, except for the very end of the game when they took him out because they sat Luke in the starters. Literally came back in. He didn't even get ice on his knees or anything on his knees before he could sit down before he got it up. It was the funniest thing.
Listen, shout out TJ. I did see that at the beginning of the fourth. I was like, yo, this can't keep going. And then he immediately puts Bane right back in. Is that true? Roddy went on an 11-0 run?
But I trust smooth southpaw. Listen, and if I'm not doing as many of the comments tonight, I do apologize. One, my screen is not as big, so it's hard for me to read them. I'm further apart in this hotel I'm in. And so I can't really see them as well. So if there's a lot of words, I'm probably not going to be able to put them up because I can't read through them as fast.
Dude,
That's on you, Nate. You should be doing some of this.
Yeah, well, I'm busy just being here and gifting you with my presence.
Yeah.
So first off, I see X and Z both went 6 for 9. Nice. But also, it looked like they both had really solid games. Zaire having good games without Ja Morant on the court, not turning into a pumpkin. Positive development. Still not ready to be hurt again, so we'll see what's going to happen. But X getting 14 and 11. I mean, the only non-factor I'm seeing out there tonight was Biz.
Yeah, Biz, he looked out of it because they were so small. He couldn't stay. They were trying to switch him on to anybody they could out on the perimeter, and that's what it was.
The Grizz look like they're still playing the brand of basketball they were playing the past 2 games, which is why I said on our show last night, the emergency show, we don't want to. I didn't believe in the tanking right away. I'm like, this team looked really good without Ja. Last game, they could do it again. Now without Jaren, if you just told me Jaren wasn't playing tonight, I'd have been like, all right, dude, they could get the best ever in the world. They just don't have enough. They hit a bunch of shots. They got to 120. That's really nice. What about the Mavs 103? Were the Mavs just missing shots, or was it the Grizz defense and the Grizz energy?
Well, I think it was more the Grizz defense and energy. They shot 43.9% from the game, 33.3 from 3. What was happening is the Grizzlies were running them off the 3-point line and sending them into more into the defense, which is great, right? And so at that point, you're either going to foul them, which a lot of times the Grizzlies were, but the other time is they were actually able to get their hands on some balls and knock them out and create a little bit more the momentum. More the chaos as I've always talked about. And at that point, you're talking about moving more and getting them off their speed. They want to slow the ball down completely. And so the defense was it. They were missing shots, but it wasn't even that. It wasn't that they were missing shots or wide open shots. Is that the Grizzlies weren't giving them the shots that they probably, feel comfortable taking. Right. And so it was kind of mucking it up a little bit and causing that chaos. As they always do. But you're talking about guys, without Jaren. But you're talking about guys like Vince Williams, and even Zaire, has played well defensively, but also Marcus Smart. And then X played amazing defense tonight. So all of that, you're talking about, guys that really just got after it. And then Desmond Bane, I believe he ended with, 9 rebounds. And so him being the rebounding leader off the starters and then X being the rebounder leader overall with 11, that's big, real big.
Well, and if you're a betting person, then you should tune into Grizz 901 because I believe somebody was saying we get the return of the Bane rebounds tonight. Just saying, it's free money. Shameless plug. But
speaking of that, Bluff City Bets, I did put out one bet for this game. It was an easy one. I put out that it would be Kyrie Irving for over 6.5 rebounds. He had 8. Easy enough, man. Easy enough. So, but yeah, overall tonight, man, the game was good. It was a game where the team really just showed out and showed a lot of heart. That's where it all comes down to. And so I'm curious how long this can last because as of right now, it looks like it's coming together. It looks like they're allowing them to play without expectations. But as we all know, it eventually kind of figures itself out, right? The cream kind of rises to the top and it kind of settles. I do think this team plays when they're playing with the effort, when they're pushing the ball, they all kind of fall into their right spots that they should be, right? And so I think this team will be fine if they can keep playing with that momentum. The issue with now, and we'll talk about this more in the second segment, what do you do for ball handling? I don't know. Because if you're without Marcus Smart, what do you do now?
Let's somebody check on Derrick Rose's legs. See if he gets a bionic hammy. Jacob Gilliard's about to bind himself back on the Memphis Grizzlies is what's about to happen.
Okay, with that, I don't know if he can. How much? Literally, there might be 20 games left of that number. They're getting up to that 90 number.
Dog.
I don't know.
Okay. You have 20 games individually for him, right? 20-something games or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, sorry. Guess what?
No, he's had 25 at least.
Okay, then you are a Memphis Grizzly again. What do you mean? Like, I don't think it's that long before Marcus Smart comes back. It for sure is going to be like, I would imagine he's out for at least a game or a couple, right? I mean, but again, it wasn't bad. He literally shot the three with a dislocated finger. So it's like he didn't notice. I don't like all that to say, Jacob Gilliard has enough games left to cover you until Smart's back. And then hopefully Derrick Rose's hamstring works again. But I mean, like, at the end of the day, you're not at a point where you're going to make the trades to bring pieces in. So it's like you got to work with what you got. And what you got is Jacob Gilliard and Derrick Rose's hamstring. And that's pretty much all the cavalry has to come in. This is where we are as some Memphis Grizzlies fans. Like, Jaren, I imagine, will be back next game. But, like, he will. Here's my thing, man. It's like, why can't we have anything nice? The Giants, but, like, we just talked about it, and it happening in the night. The team's looking like the team. The team's looking good. But, like, now Smart's out, too. Like, who did we piss off?
Well, you know how it always happens. Like, it's so bad that maybe it's so bad we're getting it all right now. Maybe we're getting it all.
Somebody owes the church money. All I'm saying is somebody got to go and say your Hail Marys because this can't keep happening. Something good has to happen. Dog.
Yeah, I would. D'Angelo's saying, I'm curious what the Mavericks fan base is angry about. Like, they have to be irate right now.
Somebody that's in here, just take one for the team. Go hop in some Mav spaces for a minute and come back with a report. I do want to hear what's going on there because that can't be good. But y'all got to understand, I didn't watch this game. Like, I literally turned it on in the fourth quarter, and all I see is David Roddy dribbling it off his leg. And then I hear Marcus Smart's out for the rest of the game with a dislocated finger. And I'm like, what the hell?
And we're up by 20 points.
And then I see it happen on a wide open three-pointer. And I'm like, what's going on? Like, if you're wondering why I'm all over the place, I don't know what is happening.
Yeah.
I'm so confused.
So D'Angelo did go back there, go there probably before this. I don't know when he went there. Said that they weren't happy. And as Zach Daniel says that maybe it was Robert Pear that committed the tax fraud, and it's the karma, the bad karma. So I don't know. All right. So listen, that's a lot of the game recap. I don't want to get into that too much. I do want to talk more about Ja Morant and kind of the future. Just for one, I know that, we're probably going to shorten some of these shows just to be completely honest. We'll probably, close it in around 45 minutes to an hour, especially as we're going through the season, if it gets to the point where they start losing. But listen, we're down for the entire season and playoffs. We're always going to be here for the post-game shows. We have made some adjustments on, different things we want to try to do. And so to give you a heads up on that, for the second segment, we're going to continue to still have Grizz trivia. As you always know, we dig in more into the game. We're going to continue to still do that, but I think what we want to do is we want to have a different look, a different viewpoint. And it's going to be, kind of, what's on the radar or who's on the radar. Okay. So we're going to give you one topic it's the second segment of every show. And we're going to actually dive into that, whether it be a trade that we're looking at, especially coming up on trade season, whether it be a guy in the draft, whether it be one of the guys on the team that's playing well, maybe it's Brandon Clark returning from injury. We're going to look into this and try to dive a little bit more in depth. And so we can get more strategic on this because, yes, they're winning right now. We don't want to take that away. They're playing well. But we also want to make sure that we're set up to give you the content you deserve. And so in the second segment, not tonight and probably not this week, but maybe starting next week, we're going to look into kind of what's on our radar and what we're looking at so we can kind of take an in-depth look on different things. So anyway, that's enough of the game recap. We're going to come back with Grizz trivia. I have a good one tonight. It's a Memphis Tigers based one. I know there's zero chance you'll get it right, but you never know. All right, let's go. Let's see what makes Ja so special. I love this one from Brevin. We'll be right back in a minute.
not just the level of individual talent that he plays, but it's also the level of his mind. We haven't gotten cross-court open shot this year. We haven't seen that pass a lot. Number one, you got to respect him going to the basket. There's a roller. I got to watch the roller. He has the mind to be able to say, I see all of that, and now I see this guy over here. I'm going to get him this open shot. How shifty he is to always be going forward. It's usually side to side. Yeah. His dribble moves are side to side, but going forward. Right. Which is very hard to defend. I just want to get you, as many times can I get you to do this? But for him, it's not here. It is here, which is with are his moves to get down the floor. It's awkward for a defender to try to catch a cadence. You dribble. So now what I do is now when you go put that ball down, I'm going for it. But with him, it's hard for my cadence. But what's my cadence for you? I don't know what it is.
Tune in to the Anthony Sane Show Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. weekly on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Yo, we're back. We're the Grizz 911 postgame show. I'm Daniel. That's Nate. There's still a confused look to your face even before we went off for the commercial, and now we're back, and you're still looking like that. I'm not sure what's going on.
And I tell you, Grant Williams is Dylan Brooks light. And I tell you, Grant Williams is Dylan Brooks light. And I look tonight, and somehow or another, he's got 7 minutes, and Josh Green's got 23. And Josh Green's stat line is 3 rebounds, 0 and 0. And Grant Williams can't get minutes over him. That dude's been Dylan Brooks light. What are we talking about?
All right, we do have a report. LOL. Nope. Jones says they aren't happy over there in Mavs land.
I wouldn't be either.
All right, so in the end of the day, the Grizzlies do win. They win 120-103. It was a good game out of the Grizzlies, and it was a good game out of the supporting cast. I forgot to do one thing, so I'm going to do it right now because I don't want to go ahead and pass it by. Listen, we're all the way off. Listen, just to be completely honest, I came on this trip, forgot to pack underwear. Okay, I'm all over the place. Little TMI, but it is what it is. So we're going to free ball this one with the Grizz 901 player of the game. Got to go back to TCU Dez, and that is 32 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 3-pointer. Desmond Bane, your Grizz 901 player of the game. The dude couldn't even come out of the game because he's that important to this team. Nate, I know you love Dez. I know you love the pettiness. For them, the Mavericks, passing up on their very own. The TCU native, or I don't know what native, he's from Indiana, but the TCU kid, they passed him up. The Grizz grabbed him. The pettiness, the petty machete he is, always giving it back to the Mavs. I love it.
Yeah. For the aforementioned Josh Green, who again, stat line was 0, 0, and 3 tonight in 23 minutes. Dog. They talk about cardio Conchar. So they got to give that to Josh Green. We just got to start calling Josh Green cardio Conchar. Even though it doesn't really make sense. He's cardio Conchar now.
All right. Well, shout out Desmond Bane since you're not going to do it, and D'Angelo will. The Grizz #1 player of the game, 32 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 3-pointers.
I was getting to it. I was just trolling Josh Green because it's what Desmond Bane likes to do anyways. He played tonight? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if Josh Green played tonight. Listen, I appreciate you finding Desmond Bane in the TCU jersey. Listen. That dude will never not take that matchup personally. No. And it's amazing. And listen, he only went, I think, 2 for 9 from 3 tonight. Is that right? Yeah. 2 for 9 from 3 tonight. Still got 32. Dude, that little baby hook he's got is a thing of abject beauty.
You know how hard that is? And I know we still haven't got off the game, even though it's supposed to be doing trivia. I want next time anyone goes to the gym, whether you ball or not, next time you go, try to run fast, right? Dribble fast as you possibly can, because that's literally what he's doing. And I want you just to try to do it, because what's going to happen is it's going to hit the backboard and go way over the rim, because you're going to shoot it off like a slingshot. That is one of the hardest things. Like, the angle of that is outside of the square. Like, you're literally a foot over from the square to make the English go in. It's ridiculous.
It makes no sense. And he'll do it off the high glass sometimes. Like, it's not even just in the square. He will send that somebody. off the top of the backboard. And it's like, it makes no sense. Dude, the Desmond Bain 3-level scorer lead, we all knew he had another step in his game, but my God, dude.
Yeah. Oof. Yeah, Dez is a dog. Yeah.
Yes.
LOL. Nope. Jones says Dez is out here doing calculus for a layup.
There's a Sherlock Holmes. He's like, at this 30-degree angle, if I go off to it's crazy, dude. It's crazy, but
yeah. All right, let's go ahead and get into Grizz trivia. I know you're all going to love this, especially if you are a Memphis Tigers fan. But then the Grizz trivia, you were going back into the draft for you, Nate.
Oh, goody.
Nate, very simple. The
Memphis.
Grizzlies have drafted one University of Memphis player of all time. Just one. Who is he?
D'Angelo Williams. It's not Michael. It's not Michael Carter Williams, is it? He was when he goes.
Michael Carter Williams was a orangeman. I don't know. Syracuse is orange. I know, dude. If you know this, turn your comments off. Actually,
I don't have the comments. I don't know who this is. Are you kidding me? You're combining Memphis Grizzlies deep history and the draft.
Dude, are we serious? You don't know? Like, literally, there's been one.
Daniel,
one.
I've only recently become a draft expert because of David Roddy. That's literally it. That is the extent. I don't even know. I couldn't tell you who got drafted first overall last year, probably.
Yeah, you could.
I'm just kidding. I do know who that is.
Hey, Elliot Williams is a good one. I think he did play for the Grizzlies. Brown Unboxing and Derek Macklin got it right for sure.
I have no idea. It would all be a complete guess.
It's not Lorenzen Wright, and unfortunately, RIP. But yeah, the guy is he did play for the Grizzlies. But we're gonna go with Antonio Burks.
Really?
Oh. The only Memphis Tiger to ever be drafted by your Grizzlies. And what happened is he was drafted by Orlando, draft night trade before the pick happened for straight cash, homie, to Memphis. And so he actually wasn't drafted by Memphis, but he was on the draft night trade. Same thing. But it was for straight cash. Like, they didn't give up anything. They said, you know what? Just give us like $10 and you can have him. It's fine.
Listen, you finally got one I couldn't guess right. So good for you.
Jarnell Stokes went to Memphis. Jarnell Stokes was a UT Vol. I do know that one. Guess who's back? Back again. The goon is back.
Myself about something I said incorrectly earlier. By the way, let me go quote this.
Booker T. Washington legend Antonio Burks. King Meeks.
Yeah, if it has to do with the draft, anything, like, 0 chance I get that right. There's a 0% chance I get that right.
Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and get into a little bit of the Jaw stuff. And so we talked about this. We kind of went straight to, I guess a breaking news, kind of episode. It was very, straight to the point. And we wanted to make sure that we kind of just hit on it. Me and Mark were going live initially, and then Nate joined us. But my thing with Ja, man, this is what I want to talk about the most, is the fact that I want to kind of clear up a little bit. Like, I know that a lot of people are mad about the training staff and, maybe some of the murkiness behind what happened. From my understanding, and some of this is speculation, some of this is a little bit of knowledge, is he was probably hurt a little bit. He kind of hit hard during that Lakers game. And then, as you always do, you get a little bit of a workout in the next day. You always, you learn this from sports. If you ever play, you don't just sit on your couch. Like, if you're hurting, whatever, you go through a little bit of a workout. You try to get your muscles, you try to get going again. And honestly, I think it probably felt like a muscle strain, because that's kind of what a labrum feels like. It's across, the front of the shoulder. And that's probably what it felt like, was a muscle strain. And so Ja Morant probably did something, strained it, did a little too much of a workout. It didn't feel right. And so they probably thought it was a muscle strain. during a actual workout, like just kind of lifting weights or whatever he was doing. And then you go to the game, and then the next day it is an MRI, and it comes back where it was some kind of a strain to that labrum. So that's kind of, I don't know.
Like, as far as the murkiness around it, I have no issue with the way it was reported. I know some people have issues with the way it was reported. I don't, because they didn't think it was that bad, and then it turned out to be that bad. I don't think there was anything like hidden as far as that goes. That doesn't necessarily mean they haven't been bad about it in the past, but generally speaking, I wasn't mad about that. But it says he dislocated his shoulder in the training session.
It's not a dislocation.
A subluxation of his right shoulder. That's a dislocation. Am I wrong? I'm pretty positive that's what that is.
I don't know.
Like, my issue, again, even with just the injuries, injuries happen, right? And like even like BC's Achilles, Marcus Smart's ankle, all that stuff, Desmond Bane's toes, initial injury, all that happens. The reason I'm starting to lose trust in the staff is because of the way it's managed every time.
Yeah.
Like, Jaren had probably multiple setbacks, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
When he got injured. Steve-O clearly didn't go the way it should have gone. And listen, I'm not saying this is an easy job, but let's just mark it out. Jaren, Steve-O, BC, and then Ja gets hurt in a training session. I'm not saying
what's a training session?
Both my labrums. I understand. There's a lot of wear and tear that goes into labral tear. I'm not, but dude, at some point, your job is to keep guys healthy, and they're not healthy. Like,
I agree.
At some point, that's your job. And when it's 2 or 3 different guys that are major pieces, Jaren, BC, Steve-O, have experienced setbacks, like, at a certain point, it's your job to keep that from happening. And it's like maybe they just have unbelievably terrible luck.
Yeah.
But at a certain point, it's your job to keep guys healthy.
As LOL Nope Jones says, communication, it's definitely suspect, right? And so I think that's what all this surrounds it. Like, a lot of it hasn't been good, right? And so you end up having a little PTSD. I think somebody said about the Adams thing. You're talking about Adams and you're talking about Jaren, at one time, and then like obviously Ja having the issue, like, with his knee in the playoffs at one time. There's been so many issues that kind of end up adding up to where if this was on its own thing, maybe you overlook it. It is what it is. But you're already like, all right, this isn't adding up. There's something not right. How do all these players keep getting hurt? And so I get it. I get the frustration completely. I'm frustrated too. I don't understand how we can have this many things go wrong, but also know that sometimes just bad things just compile, right? But I do think that there needs to be looked into what's going on, because this is a lot of issues. And I don't know. I wasn't there at the workout. Maybe they were there and people were hanging out and he was just doing his normal lifting weights. I don't know, man. I'm not gonna speculate on that too much.
And if so, they need to do a better job of communicating that. 'Cause I see Alan up here saying this was not a team activity, but the press release says during a training session, he had a subluxation of his right shoulder.
A training session could be your own. Like, hey, I'm going to lift this morning from 8 to 9.
Okay, then it could be like individual, something else. But it says during a training session, he dislocated his right shoulder. It's basically what that says.
So you just want more clarity to what's going on. I'm not saying you don't deserve it, because
I don't care about the reporting. The reporting of it in general, I don't care about. That, when you phrase it like that, makes me think he dislocated his right shoulder during a training session with the training staff. It doesn't say practice, doesn't say anything like that. So that's why I say I could be completely wrong. And again, my issue is not with the reporting in general. And people were like sitting there saying, hey, they're being suspect. They're not communicating well. Whatever. Like that, this was not a big deal at all. I thought they communicated fine for this. My issue is how many guys have setbacks during these injuries, right? Like,
for sure.
And at a certain point, it's like when I see Ja gets hurt in a training session, my first thing is to think, what's the training staff doing? And it's not just because of this. It's because, again, the Jaren setback, the BC setback, the Steve-O setback. And it's like whenever someone goes out with an injury, we're always like, okay, like, are they going to be out for a game?
Yeah.
A month?
And I'm down with that. I would love to see them be more clear on that. I think what they try to do is almost like they're trying to be cute with it in a sense. And I know that maybe they try to keep stuff close to the vest because usually that allows more things to not get out. This team does a very good job of not letting info leak for the most part. And so I understand that.
Just because of that, but what it comes off to me is it's a bunch of cover my ass because you can't do your job well enough to say this injury has this timeline because you keep screwing it up. And because all these injuries have general timelines and expectations on it. You see it with a bunch of teams that report it. But for this team, it's not what it is. And after so many instances, you start to think this staff can't keep up. I could be, like I said, I could be just looking to burn someone at the stake. And I could be completely off. Maybe it is just purely emotional, but typically when it comes to stuff like this, I don't feel like I get super emotional about this kind of thing. Dude, at a certain point, the team's never healthy.
Yeah.
It's not.
I agree.
And it seems like whenever they're not healthy, you have a hell of a hard time getting them healthy. So what gives? Are you just that unlucky? Maybe Marcus Smart dislocated his finger on a three-pointer. Maybe they literally just that. So, I don't know. I feel like we are pretty slow to condemn coach,
for sure.
Office. Even players will give a lot of leeway on this show. And at a certain point, I'm like, the training staff, I'm like, dude, walks like a duck, talks like a duck, sounds like maybe it's a duck.
Or a dog. I'm not sure. Or a parrot sounding like a duck.
Who knows?
All right. D'Angelo says, took Siakam 5 months to return from an injury like this. I get it. I'm not exactly sure why it took, what the timeline is. Realistically, I think he'll be healthy. He'll get back, especially for a labrum tear. This is what I want to talk about as well. King Meeks, love you, man. But the ESPN OTI, those guys, Will Bond and whatever the other guy's name is, I forget. They do the happy trail stuff all the time. And so I understand that we Memphians are petty and we always wave that petty machete around. So, I don't know if you've ever seen that, their show that they do.
I know what you're talking about.
It always says happy trails to something, right? And so what it is saying, happy trails to college football. And they'll say, last night college football, ended, and so, great season, happy trails to a great season, whatever. Pretty much is what they would say. Well, this one, it says happy trails, John Morant. And they literally talked about how he had an injury, how he had a labrum tear and he's going to be out for the season, and pretty much happy trails to you. You're, just pretty much saying, giving you an update on, going to be gone for a while. Like, it's not, and I don't want to seem like, oh my God, like you're an idiot for thinking that. No, not at all. I know a lot of people, PT, I'm sorry. Yeah. And so pardon the interruptions, what, the show's called, in case people that don't know. I don't want to be that guy. I'm not saying, hey, I'm high almighty, like, hey, whatever. I take a lot and I'm very petty. I'm just trying to explain that maybe people that don't watch the show on a normal basis, they've been doing that for so many years since I was a kid watching that show. So I get it. It's not a good look, but it also is something they do all the time. And so I know it can be taken out of context. I just want to give a little bit of update from my opinion on that. But anyway, let's talk about the future of what this team looks like. And I know we talked about this on the when we were both driving to our separate places, far away from each other. But we're discussing a little bit of what the future looks like. And so we both talked about winning and losing and what that looks like. And so let me take the losing part of it. I'm going to give you the winning part because I think that's more fun. The losing part of it is, let's say you do lose. What do you reward it for? You reward it for, honestly, you're a draft pick, a draft asset. You can trade that and upgrading one of your top 8 talents and sending somebody out with a good draft pick and possibly bringing in somebody even better. Like that, honestly, it's going to probably be a lottery pick unless this team just keeps winning like they have been, like they showed tonight. That's what you're rewarded for, which is great. But the other thing is even if you do lose and you're not completely in tank mode, which I never will agree with, is completely being in tank mode, I do think that this team will be rewarded because of it. As you saw tonight, the energy and the effort from these guys, dude, it's going to be this team is going to play well at times. They're going to play terrible at times. I don't want people to forget that. But if they do lose, you are rewarded for actually losing at this point. You're expected to lose. There's no expectations. And I think that's going to be important. But the winning stuff, let's say they do win and people are mad about missing out on that draft pick.
Who gives a shit? Like, honestly, I mean, like, who's the Grizzlies' highest draft pick that's not Ja and Jaren? You know who it is. Name it.
Oh, is it Jake LaRavia? No, it's Zaire.
Zaire Williams.
Yeah.
Who is doing fine for you the past few games, but, like, would any of us be surprised if he's a DNP and then gets shipped off for next to nothing by the time it's said and done? Like, and then who got drafted at 17 where the Grizzlies originally were? Trey Murphy. Everybody in this fan base would give anything to have over Zaire, despite the fact Zaire's looked admittedly good the past few games.
Mm-hmm.
Like, who cares about that draft pick, man? Like, and chances are the Grizzlies won't be very good, and they'll get good lottery odds. But it makes no sense to tank. You have a bunch of winners on the team, and if you're going to lose, let it be because you just don't have the horses. Other than that, it's like, go keep playing. This team has looked good in 2 games in a row without Ja on the road against quote-unquote powerhouse teams. I say quote-unquote. I think the Mavs with Luka are actually awesome. I've never been in on the Suns. Just haven't. Ja, you didn't even have Jaren in this game. Marcus Smart is the latest victim to the basketball gods, so you don't have him to close out that game. Like, you got a good thing going with a bunch of guys growing and figuring out who they are. Like, keep trying to win. And if you just lose, then just lose. Like, the idea of the tank makes sense for teams that are just full of losers that you're not going to build around. And maybe you find a diamond in the rough. That's not this team. Like, this team has enough pieces that they've shown a couple of times now they can put together to win against really good competition. Tough competition. Like, go play to win, and then if you happen to lose, you happen to lose. But this whole, like, tanking thing makes no sense. You should try to win. And by the way, if you have Smart, if you have Jaren, if you have Dez, then you got guys like Vince stepping up. Luke Kennard looked more like himself. Zaire Williams is contributing. Dude, you could still mess around, find yourself in a play-in. And in my mind, if you can sneak into the playoffs, even if you lose in the first round, even if you win only a game in the first round, that's more successful than the quote-unquote tank. And like saying, I don't even see how you could do it. You have too many winners on this team. Unless you just don't play them. You would have to not play your guys.
Yeah.
That's the only way to do it. And that makes no sense either. It doesn't make sense from a business perspective because games like this, from a business perspective, put butts in seats.
Yeah.
Puts jerseys on kids. Like, from a business perspective, it doesn't make sense. From a basketball perspective, you got a bunch of guys learning how to win and learning some role in the NBA. And then purely from just a product perspective, like, you don't want to see that. Nobody wants to see that. And it teaches losing habits. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. So you're going to keep trying to win. And quite frankly, it's looking like you might actually do it. So
yeah, so the Grizzlies have 45 games now remaining. They can go, I believe it's 27-18 to get to 41-41 to 500 record. I'm not saying it's not doable, but that's going to be winning at this pace, even with now the injuries, now to Marcus Smart possibly. Like, it's going to be tough, okay? And I want people to understand that we're not always going to have every game like this where they actually come out and they look so good. But the great thing about this, there is zero expectations. This team is playing like they have a weight lifted off their shoulder. I know that they hated every minute of going 6-19 to start that without Ja, and then Ja coming back, and then all of a sudden you're then now fighting again. I just hope that we don't have guys overdo it. That's my biggest thing. Is I want this team to be good. I don't want it to be because actually Desmond Bane just completely kills himself to make this team good. Because at that point, at what cost are you doing that for? Okay, so as long as it's not that, we're talking about if the Grizzlies lose, they get a good draft pick. If the Grizzlies win, one, it's more enjoyable. But two, that means that Ja or Dez, I'm sorry, not Ja, but Dez or Jaren stepped up and is becoming a real player in this league, like a real player. I'm not talking about like, hey, whenever, they can be the number 2. I'm talking about a real player in this league, which is awesome, which means that when you get back Ja next year and then you get back potentially Adams or whatever pieces they add, this team is only going to be better next year.
It helps that Vince is a damn maniac, dude. Yeah. I love Vince Williams so much, dude. He is a psychopath out there. It is incredible. That's more likely. I do not want to be president of nothing, please.
What about the ski instructor?
I'd be snowboarding. Even that, I'd rather not. I like my current job. I like my current job and my current side job. I'll stick with that.
That's just because you're there. So Saints saying, 4-1, 2-3, 2-0, like you can actually you can get there with the math. Like, and I know on Saints show live on Wednesdays and Fridays at noon, he's talked about a lot, just taking it bite-sized pieces. And that's what kind of I'm trying to do for here is trying to break it down just to get to 500, just to make it more realistic. And I think that's possible. I don't think it's completely out of the question, but I do think it's going to be for sure hard. But as some people are saying, as D'Angelo's saying, Vince is awesome, man. It's awesome to watch him play. It really is, just because the things he does is things that honestly are, you got to have a little bit of craziness, which is cool. I like a little bit of craziness, but also you just got to just ball out. You just know your role and do that. And that's really what he's doing. He's not doing, not giving you, losing plays. Like everything he gives you is a winning play.
Well, and Vince, Marcus, Jaren lineups are going to absolutely murder.
They are.
Like they don't. You're like, who's going to make a shot? You ain't got to worry about it. You just let that take care of itself, buddy. They're going to be okay. Like those guys can defend.
And so you're saying all the unders?
Not necessarily. The Grizz keep putting up 120. That's how. I don't know.
Yeah, the under hit again tonight.
But, dude, here's the thing. You look at that, and even that math. My math for this road trip would have been 0-3.
I did 1-2, but yes. Close.
It doesn't matter. 3-0. We talked about this at the beginning of the season. They just could dick around and run 4 off, and that's when they, really sucked.
Yeah.
Now you got guys that actually could put it together, look like a team that could compete with anyone on any given night. Like, dude, they can mess around. Could they beat the Clippers at home? Yes. Could they beat the Knicks at home? Yes. Could they beat the Warriors at home on MLK Day? As long as Draymond doesn't put anyone else out for the season, yes.
God, I kind of hope he punches somebody.
I don't want to talk about Draymond stuff, dude. It's just stupid. The whole thing's just stupid.
He is.
And then it's like after that, Timberwolves, Raptors, Heat, Magic, Pacers, Kings. With the way they're playing now, I could easily see them winning the vast majority of those games to close out this month.
Wow.
Like, and listen, if you'd have told me Jaren's out tonight and Marcus Smart's going to dislocate his finger at some point, I'd have been like, who do you have left? Eventually, they're going to have to put me in. They're going to put me out to Dallas mid-game and put me on the court, and they beat them by 17. It's a team who found their identity against the Lakers. And they're playing at that identity. And if you got that, you got good enough players, you can go and win games on any given night.
Yep, a lot can happen on the road. As I said, I will be. I'll shine my crystal ball up, man. A lot did happen on the road trip. John Morant goes out for the season, but you're talking about you're hanging out with your boys. There's nothing better than going on a bro trip. If you're a lady, nothing better than going on a ladies trip. Everybody's hanging out. Everybody's having a good time. Just like in sports, man. When you're going out, when you're on the road with your guys, you're eating at the same restaurant, you're hanging out, you're working out together. And that's really where you kind of bond. And I think really something happened with this road trip. I really do think it did. Because this is a team that's coming together, and you can see it. You can see that when when they're playing the way they're playing, it gives you the chills, man. It gives you those goosebumps when they're all standing up on the sideline, just having fun. That's really all what it comes down to. They're just having fun. And so it was a good time. And so, I hope that everybody understands that this team is special and they're going to continue to gel and they're always going to continue to have that good chemistry. It's building. And I think that's going to be special. I don't know how long that they can hold it together, but man, I'm not going to doubt these guys because they've been playing just like their hair on fire. But as Smooth Southpaw said, go give a like to us. We're going to take a quick break real quick. Obviously, really quickly. But we're gonna go ahead. We'll be right back in about 1 minute.
I'm just big on being able to vocalize what someone's role is. I always thought my best coaches were the people that let me know exactly what you expect from me. Now I might not like it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Right. But if you come to me man to man to say, this is how we think we're gonna play you, bang, 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 and hopefully everybody understand. I'm not saying that this has not been done with this team. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying from my experience, we all have egos when we get to this game. Right. All of us, to the last person on the bench, you got an ego, but all of us can't be the man. Yeah, you got to be able to say, okay, he's the man, but what do I do and what can I do to help us be good? And if it's vocalized to you, then you know exactly what. And if I'm out there doing it, and now I'm not getting the result from you, now we got to sit down and have another conversation. Mm-hmm. But as long as it is told to you, this is what we expect from you, this is how we want you to play, then I feel like, again, keeping his logo. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Tune in to the Anthony Sane Show Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. weekly on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
All right, this is the Grizz 101 podcast. If you would do us a favor, hit the like button, but also on the YouTube channel, subscribe to it. It's free, costs nothing. But if you want to sign up and be a part of the Discord channel, be a Bluff City Media Insider, it's $5 a month. There's nothing else better than that. But if you're watching this over on Twitter, thankfully, I realized that we were missing some views. Go ahead and hit the like and the share. But one other thing, Nate. Do you know who Pews is?
Of course I know who Pews is.
Well, you all should know who Pews is. They've been around for forever. They are a flower shop, right? Well, not to be contrarian, but they are more than just a flower shop. They're also a commercial landscape maintenance. Pews been around for over 30-plus years, servicing the Mid-South. But did you know that now Pews does residential lawn care?
Did not know that.
So Pews Residential Spray, who does my spray, they can take care of all of your weed control and fertilization needs. If you want to create that perfect weed-free lawn, then call Pews Residential Spray today for a free estimate. That is 901-633-2118, and let them know that the Grizz 901 crew sent you. And remember, Pews, well, you get that big company strength, small company values. They are now a sponsor of the Grizz 901 podcast, the Grizz 901 post-game show. We have another one coming very shortly, but we want to go ahead and start sharing those as they're coming in. Honestly, talk about being sick. Whenever you get ready to sign some paperwork, and then the text message before the message of John Morant going out just makes you get sick. So we're going to have more things coming up with Pews. But if you want to go ahead and find any, lawn care, any maintenance spraying, they do my yard. I have friends over there. They do a very good job. So go check them out. All right, let's go ahead and get into the preview. And that is the Clippers. The Clippers have now won 20 of the last 26. They are playing very well. What's your thoughts on the Clippers, Nate?
Who cares? Grizz by 50. Listen, they're good. They've got a bunch of figured out how to play together, which is really scary. I mean, you've got 1, 2, 3 former MVPs on that team that are all playing really well together. So as a team that's really clicking, playing really well. At the same time, Grizzlies are a team that, despite their record, despite the injuries, clicking, playing really well. I do think the Grizzlies match up really well against the Clippers. I'm worried if Marcus Smart misses the game. I just saw a story from Drew Hill. They're going to reevaluate it when they're back in Memphis. They said nothing's broken. Better to be safe than sorry. So see what happens with Marcus Smart. Defensively, I wonder if you have enough. And then Jaren plays, and he has another game like he had against the Lakers and the Suns. I feel really good about it. At the same time, you still have to put up with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard and James Harden. You really want to have Marcus Smart for that, So that's a tall task. At the same time, Jaren was playing like a 1A against the Suns and the Lakers, taking it to guys like AD and Nurkic. You can do that against Zubac, and all of a sudden you take over. Jaren has a 40-point game. Dez is hot, and you just got guys that'll hit some shots. You get yourself a chance at any game. I would feel really good about it if they had Smart. Without Smart, I would give the edge to the Clippers, but with a big Jaren game and Dez game, I think teams clicking away. Role players are hitting a lot of shots. Anything can happen.
Yeah, the Grizzlies had a lot of assists tonight in this game. They're going to need to do the same thing. And shout out to Heaven's Healthy Kitchen. Go check them out. I'm not exactly sure of the website right now. Off the top of my head, I apologize, but go check them out. There is going to be Memphis pop-ups with the stuff, and so we'll have a lot more on that later on. But you're talking about Smart. I think he's out, I would imagine, but as we all know, as LOL Nope Jones said, that reevaluation word, man, is scary. But you're talking about guys that honestly they are playing carefree, and as long as we do have, I say, 2 of the 3 now between Dez, Jaren, and Smart, I feel okay about it. But I do think that we might have some issues with being able to handle the ball, because there's no backup point guard. There's no starting point guard. We don't have a point guard that had actually suited up tonight.
Gilly's coming.
He's right down the way.
I don't know.
Hey,
that finger's not broken. Grizz training staff's going to be like, watch this.
And broken.
I'm playing jokes. Just jokes, my friend.
Yeah, so I don't know, man. I'm excited about the game Friday. It's going to be honestly, you're getting a 3-game road trip where they have playing very well. They're rebounding, they're gang rebounding in a sense, and so that's what you're going to have because Zubac is going to be a good rebounder, especially against us. But if the Grizzlies can take care of business on the rebounding, I really do think that they have a good chance to win this game. They've been the Clippers have been shooting like crazy, man, and so you're going to have the tidal wave, just like the Warriors of old had the tidal wave, where you have to kind of just, you just kind of stay in there. And so, just as this is probably the perfect thing for it, is what Daniel says. After tonight, anything can happen. It really can. And so we're going to keep, we're going to keep living by that, right? Because there's no reason not to. They're giving us no reason not to. So at this point, even if they do lose, they're expected to. But you know what? I feel good about the Knicks. I feel then good about the Warriors. The Timberwolves, that's a little different because they have a lot of size. But really, there's nothing that scares me that this team can't do now. And so I'm hoping that this team really does show up and show out and continue to keep showing out. And so I'm excited. I think Friday's going to be good. I know I'll be here. We're not sure if you're going to do this because I'm going to take off Saturday's game. So Nate might not be here on Friday. And I know I will be off on Saturday. I will be out in the mountains without any service at all. I have no idea probably who wins the game.
Ding, 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 ding.
It's my wife's birthday, and so we're going to have a good time. Us and some friends are going to go out there. We're going to go out there. We're going to sit in a hot tub. We're going to look out to the mountains and have a good time. And so it's going to be good. My kids' team, I know if everybody's wondering, 2-0. We have the biggest point differential in the league, an average of 17, mind you.
Daniel, careful with those hand signals. I don't want you to dislocate a finger.
Shut up. All right, well, we got to start winning at home for the Grizzlies, and we're going to keep playing well. The show's going to keep being here. Listen, winning is fun, isn't it, man? And so hopefully that we keep playing well, and the Grizzlies really do just kind of keep keep getting after it because it's so fun to watch this team. This team is having a lot of fun. We're having a lot of fun watching them. I hope you're having a lot of fun on the show. If you are, please hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel. I will try to make sure I don't make the mistake again. I'm not actually putting us live on Twitter. I believe we're good now. I think we were live the whole time, but you never know. But that's all we got, man. It's been a fun show. I hope everybody is having a good night out there. And so that's it. We're on the road. Daddy's going back home tomorrow. Be nice. Tell your friends.